With great love and respect in my heart, I welcome you to this beautiful Sunday morning from Upasana. Thank you for taking this time. How easy it is to return to the self. We are constantly flowing out with our ideas, concerns, aspirations, fears, envy, greed, jealousy, all these things. We're constantly flowing out with our thoughts. One thought comes in, we become it. A problem, even the problem is just a thought. Appears, we try to solve it. We are constantly flowing out. I'm not saying flowing out is not a good thing. It is a good thing, but too much of even a good thing becomes cause of suffering. Too much of even a good thing. We have spent 3-4 days here at Upasana, and it's amazing to see the impact of carving out a little time and become introverted, distancing yourself from all the busyness. I can see the radiance on each of these faces who have been here for a couple of days. And it gave me an idea that how to expand it. And I'm proposing that what we are doing here, how to bring it to you in your own home. It will be a little harder, but it can be done. It's easier when we carve out a little time, go to a new place, are in the company of like-minded people who are there for the same thing. So there is momentum, energy builds up, and it's a little easier that way. To be able to do a Triratri at your home, that's what I'm proposing. We could do a schedule, even a little talk in the evening, and you observe silence, simple food, do certain number of jap, meditation. So it will require self-discipline. If people could do really Triratri at home, it will be such a beautiful experience for individual as well as collective. I could make it a little easier, but the easier will not be as powerful for people who are working, for example. Babaji, can I just speak for 2 hours? Babaji says, yeah, sure. But it really takes away uh, from what you could gain from this. This whole idea of Triratri is really returning back to yourself. We have all kinds of thoughts. Once we live in our familiar environment, we have things to fix and we have things to take care of and our responsibilities and this and that. So it's a little hard, but it can be done, provided you are committed to it. Why to buy airline ticket and fly and rent a car and come to the ashram and then drive 3 hours, then come here? Yeah, it gives something, but is it really worth it? My idea is that you are able to do this in your own home. I'm not trying to discourage you from coming to Upasana, come, but let it not be the only reason that you can do Triratri. You can do Triratri right in your home. We could do that at Sonoma Ashram. People who live in the community could gather there and do it while we are doing it here. So it just, the energy goes out. So this little inspiration has come to me after this Triratri at Upasana. That a handful of people, 10 people here doing it, and we can expand it. It's really not that difficult to come back to yourself. We say it's hard because we have gotten in a habit. And to break that habit makes it look hard. I would like to just propose this to you. You think about it. Can you take 3 days off from whatever you are doing right at your home? Minimize your engagement in the world. Let people know that these 3 days you are not available, accessible. Carve out, clean your house, organize it, get ready to go into it. As you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed, remind yourself that tomorrow is going to be a different kind of day. I'm going to wake up and with this routine. So as you put that in your mind night before, something keeps building while you are sleeping, and next morning you start the new day. So something like this can work. I always like to stretch the boundary. So the boundary should not stay limited to the physical location of the ashram. The boundary of the ashram should be in each home. Just take it out there. And I was talking to a friend of mine in Sonoma the other day. He's not doing very well, having little challenges, physical challenges. So I said, "How are you?" He said, "Oh, body is doing its thing, but I'm fine. Body is going through its challenges. Body is doing its things, but I am fine." And it was such a wonderful moment to hear that from him. because he does have lots of problems going with his eyes and heads and old age, 85, and he's not identifying with the body. Yeah, body is there, it will go through it. And the more I try to grab onto, yes, there is pain. But the way he put it, he said, even if there is pain, I just say, yes, there is pain. The more I fight with it, the harder it becomes. If I go into acceptance of it and I know this, allow it to happen. If it gets too much, I take a little pain medication, but I'm just going through it. We get something in our body and then we get totally consumed by it. Totally consumed by it. Can we distance ourselves from that, being totally consumed? As long as we have body, we are bound to experience, bound to go through discomfort. So it's a nice idea to just even put it in our mind. That body is there. It will do its things. I'm not the body. I'm not the body. We hear things like this. We read things like this. When and how are we going to practice this? Unless we really practice it, it's just an idea. Can you take a moment in your day sometimes when, yesterday we were building a fire and I burnt my big thumb. I grabbed a log, burning. And it has been a good reminder. Yes, it hurt. But I took a moment to just let it hurt and not say that I am hurting. Yeah, there is pain. So little moments like that, maybe we can use that as a moment to practice. Body is going through it. I'm not the body. Same thing about the mind. Some thoughts come. Taking a little distance from that thought. I'm not my thoughts. Most of the thoughts that come are kind of useless thoughts. Most of them. Once you become still, calm, become introverted, begin to stay focused on yourself like we were just doing in Triratri, observing silence. And then you begin to notice that most of the time things that you say are totally useless. In the moment it comes, I must say this, I must express it, I must communicate. But you can communicate in so many different ways. Sometimes just by being quiet and smiling speaks much louder than you try to say. So we have gotten in the habit of just saying, I must say this, I must communicate. Even stopping yourself from doing that. Watch, you're not your thoughts. How important this thought is. As we become quiet, we understand the power, the energy that we spend throughout the day. Even speaking, how much energy we speak, this voice that's coming out. Some energy is being spent. Store that energy. I'm not saying just become silent forever, but taking a little time and practicing these things make a very rich experience. In olden India, there are many days that are carved out, at least one day a month to be silent, to fast, and to visit temples or do little pujas at home, at least one day a month. Total fast, silence, spend a little more time in your devotional activities. And these are good for the spirit. So if you can't take 3 days, take one day off, but really make at least one day out of 30 days a little different. We are not victims of our circumstances. We can choose. We can make whatever we want. The indisciplined mind will come and say, oh, it's going to be very difficult. I can't do this. You can do it, provided you want to do it. In olden yogic days, there were no retreats. There is no retreat. You make your own retreat at home, everybody. But here we like to gather and make a big drama around it, an event and this and that. And then I'm going to be silent. So it's okay. It at least gives us a taste of it. But the real work is that you need to do it in your own home. How difficult it is really if you just make a promise to yourself that in the name of my spirit, good health, I'm going to take one day a month to fast and to be silent and sleep all day if you really want to sleep. Rest, give yourself rest. Don't do any japa or mantra or meditation. Just take a nice day, be quiet, take a nice bath, do a little meditation, 5-10 minutes, go to sleep. Rest. Give yourself permission to really rest. The working people, young people who are working, they're always going, fast, fast, fast. Slow down. Give a total reset to your system. We feel guilty sleeping, right? Not doing anything. One day you can give yourself permission. Fasting, observing silence, not getting on the digital phone and media, just total disconnect from it all for one day. But I know there are some young parents with kids, like Vivek, what he's thinking right now. I can do it. because he's got two little daughters and they're always needing their attention. So, and they got two dogs and they got cats. So we surround ourselves with these, and that's why we have to run away and go to Upasana. But if you keep your life a little simple at home, children are good. So, but please do figure out that how can you give that gift to yourself, a gift of a day, of freedom, even from the Shannon doing digital detox. Why you need a digital detox? Can't you just put your phone somewhere and just say, I'm not going to do it today? Why you have to go all the way to the jungle and so somebody to tell you, okay, now don't touch the phone, but do this. You do whatever you want to do. But we need that. And so that's why it's all here. But nothing is really needed from outside for you to do what you need to do. That's all I'm trying to say. Purpose of this satsang is really to inspire, to instill, to encourage you to carve out at least one day in your home to just reset your system. I bow to that stillness within you. It's always there. And thank you for sitting here with me. I would love to hear what's on your mind.
Babaji, Vivek has a question.
Yes, Vivek.
Pranam, Babaji, pranam. I was just curious. I saw today that today is the birthday of Baba Kinaram in Varanasi.
Yes.
Can you tell us about him and who he was and why he's significant? What I remember is as a student in Benares, I would often walk by or ride by his ashram in Ravindra Puri, and Bantuji and I would go there often, and I never really understood who he was or why he was important. So can you tell us about him?
Oh, that will take forever. Baba Kinaram is the founder of our lineage. That's where my guru, Aghureshwar, was initiated, and his guru. And so Baba Kinaram was a saint in around 1600 century. And he came at a time when there was lots of chaos in the society. The right-wing Brahminical oppression on the people and the rulers from outside of the country. So people were really oppressed at that time. So he came and he gave total freedom that doesn't matter whether you eat onion or garlic or that doesn't make you impure. As long as your thoughts are pure, that's what it matters. So he gave lots of freedom to people, and he just not started saying that. He was a realized being, and wherever he went, miracles were happening around him. And he started a fire, sacred fire that's burning even today, that has been kept alive. And that is the source of our, if you see the ashes that we give people blessing and put it on, these ashes come from that fire. Baba Kinaram was a great social reformer. And it was his teaching that first acknowledge who you are. You are Brahman, you are one with God. Do something every day to connect with that. And bring some service in your life, because Baba Kinaram really served the humanity. someday maybe we'll speak about Baba Kinaram, but he lived to be 140 years of age. And the day he left the body, a day before, he had told everybody that, come tomorrow, I'm leaving, come say hi to me, or whoever. So people came and gathered, and in the presence of everybody, he had a samadhi dug out, and he went and sat in there and took a nice deep breath and held it in and left. So there are many stories of Baba Kinaram's miracles happening all, like even after his body was, he had left the body, it was covered, and that's where the samadhi tomb is built in Ravindrapuri, in Baba Kinaram ashram. And it's visited by thousands and thousands of people every year, and people still find intervention, divine intervention, by visiting there. He built a pond right next to the dhuni, the sacred fire, and charged the water of the pond with the mantra Kring. That's why it is called Kring Kund. And 400 years later, people are still coming there to bathe, and the common belief is that whatever you are suffering through, if you take a bath in the pond and leave your old clothes, give it to the poor, put on new clothes, you find some relief in your suffering. So at the Krinkund ashram, every month there are like thousands of old discarded clothes that are washed and distributed to the poor. But people who manage the ashram, they have to deal with these piles of old wet clothes. So that's their seva, to dry it and wash it and distribute it. So that's the little seva there.
Thank you.
There are lots of stories. There is a whole book about the miracles of Baba Kinaram. But Baba told us, instructed us, don't talk about miracles. The real miracle is to encourage people to live a simple life, disciplined life, connect with themselves, connect with the Shakti that is already there, and a miracle will happen through each individual. Samajh gaye Vivek? Got it, Vivek?
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, think about fasting one day.
I'm a slow learner, but I'm getting it slowly. Yeah.
No, just think about fasting. Speak and talk with play with the girls and everything, but don't eat anything. Just drink water that day.
Okay.
Anybody else has anything on mind?
बाबा जी, how about हम लोगों को मेडिसिन जो खानी पड़ती है,
Oh,
with the food, how do we do that?
Eat your medicine. Medicine is take the medicine.
With what? With water only?
With water, yes. Or if your medicine needs some milk, take milk. In medicine, it's okay. But don't eat rasgulla and gulab jamun.
Okay. With the food.
Paratha and sabji.
Okay.
Babaji, there's a question from Roxy. Thoughts on setting intentions for Triratri and fasting in our homes? Is it better to set intentions for what we want to learn during that time, or just let it happen?
Don't set any intention for learning, finding anything. Just rest. Because once you have something, then again you are going towards something. So just make your mind, whatever comes, I will accept it as a divine blessing in my hands. You just take a day off, disconnect from the world, and rest. And not surf on the internet, don't watch TV, and disconnect. Go for a walk, do a little stretching, sit and meditate, little things that we do, and meditate as many times as your mind gets restless. So that's the only way to deal with that mind. If you get restless, if you have a yard, go work in the yard, go for a walk, sit and meditate. Give yourself permission to do. You can do it. You don't need to be guided by Babaji, or you don't need an app. Just do away with everything. Learn how to be by yourself. And that's what we are all really, that's all I'm talking about. Roxy, that makes sense? Good. Aditi, Shanta, I heard you got a bear visiting your house. That was
Yes, that was very exciting, Babaji. Pranam.
it was a big bear. I saw the picture of it.
Yes, it was quite, actually, it was beautiful. It was shiny. The hair was so fluffy. It's like really cuddly. I now understand why we built a soft bear. It's really, we were surprised.
How are kids doing? How is Aditi doing?
Oh, Aditi is doing wonderful. We just had a 3-day camping where we kind of did detox.
Mhm.
So we were out in open in the area with water. So yeah, they're very happy.
Good to
Thank
see.
you, Babaji.
Ask a question.
Yes.
So in March, I had a vision nightmare, and it left me with heart palpitations for a day. And in it, I saw civil war and nuclear war and people dying, and I could feel them dying. And it's sort of like I woke up like a prophet of a doom story, but I couldn't tell if it was just a warning to tell or it might happen. But it's changed everything. And in a strange way, it's become like a vaccine. So when terrible things happen and other people get very depressed, I sort of have this sense of this deeper, more difficult trends going on. And so, but I'm sort of struggling to know how to live with this.
Well, things have happened. You know, all the things you have described have happened and will continue to happen. As if you look at the history, the time, it will continue to happen. And things that are beyond our control, thinking too much about that doesn't solve anything, doesn't do any good. What is within our control, that's what we should focus on. So, you know, it's a dream. Whatever you give importance to, that becomes real. And you keep living and reliving that vision that you woke up with. In my thinking, a vision that does not serve is not worth paying attention to. I would rather go and plant a flower and put the vibrations of happiness out there. Things that we cannot control, what can we do about it? That's my approach to things like that. Some days I have a nightmare I woke up with, and I try to forget it. Some days I have a good dream that I wake up with. I try to remember that and stay inspired. We have to live each day fully and not live in fear. You know, nuclear war has happened, and world war has happened, and civil war has happened. People have done this, that, and they will keep doing it. We think we are getting enlightened, but that Enlightenment happens, as a society, as a collective humanity. If each individual starts working on themselves, then we can change the society. It's the individual work that we need to do to take the human consciousness to a higher level. Individual work. Well, Jamie, I don't know if that's what you wanted to hear, but that's what came to me as I was listening to you.
Yes, it has led me to focus on supporting people who are doing amazing work in communities.
Yes.
And what they're saying is, we're not going to wait for anybody to rescue us or whatever. We're going to build relations in our community. A Christian priest said, there's the story of the dishonest steward who knows he's going to be fired. So he forgives all the debts of the masters. And so when he's fired, they look after him. And it's a story of building relationship. Use your resources now to build good relationships. So that is what I'm focusing on.
No, that's very good. You first make a relationship with yourself good, so you're not living in fear, and just make the relationship with yourself first and then take it out in the community. Thank you. Okay, everyone, have a wonderful week ahead, and happy September. And fall is coming. It's time for a little change. And that's why I encouraged you to bring a little change. Take a day for yourself. Connect with the light that's already there. Thank you all.